Well, Edmonton City Council meetings start with a prayer. They're offered by members of several faiths. Now, city lawyers have advised the city to review the practice. That follows a recent Supreme Court decision involving Saguenay, Quebec. The court ruled that Saguenay's council violated Quebec's Human Rights Act with a Catholic prayer before meetings. Tomorrow, City Council will consider whether to suspend prayers temporarily. We've brought two people on both sides of the issue into the studio this morning to talk about this. Reverend Father Penna is Vice President of College Development and Advancement at Newman Theological College. And Luke Feathen is a Director with the Society of Edmonton Atheists. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right. So the first thing I want to do here for people trying to understand this story is that Edmonton and Saguenay are very different. Saguenay,
Right.
You had the mayor up there who would do the cross.
Sign of the cross, yes. Yeah. And then say the Our Father, which is a particular prayer that is very religious. And I would see that's kind of an inappropriate prayer to begin a gathering of the city council. In the same way, I don't think the Shahada should begin. But I do those are particular prayers that express a community's faith in a very intense way, making it a religious celebration. City council meetings debating about potholes, I don't think are quite religious.
Right.
So I don't think that those kinds of prayers are appropriate. However, people speaking from their tradition is very important. If we continue to go this way, you won't be able to have a drum ceremony. You wouldn't be able to have a smudging ceremony at the beginning of anything civic, because this distinction between religion and culture is a Western one.
And in Saguenay, all of the council would do it as well, and then follow it up again.
Exactly. And that's a kind of an expectation that is not what the kind of prayers that they have here at City Council.
And Edmonton is very different. The
Quite
mayor,
different.
Don Iveson, is not up there doing that. They welcome in other people from all different faiths. Sometimes there's an Aboriginal speaker.
I think this has been cleverly blurred.
Okay.
A quick look at the council meetings for 2014, 2015. So that's 25 meetings. Will show that we had two First Nations people giving the invocation, the first invocation of the year, which seems to be a tradition. But that was 2 out of 25. And 80% of those people giving the invocation were actually on Team Yahweh. So this suggestion that there's this great diversity is actually a little bit of a smokescreen.
Well, I mean, I went and looked yesterday because I wanted to be a bit prepared for this, and I looked at the last 6 or 8, and there was Catholic, Christian, there was an Aboriginal elder who came in, there was a choir as well. And I just want to keep going on the delineation here. I know you're saying it's a bit different, but it's those groups leading this, not the mayor, not council.
Right.
So it's different in that way.
Right. And I also think that this is a bit of a demonstration of the way in which our society is going. In order to have an inclusive, diverse culture, the response that is suggested is don't say anything that could offend anybody. Silence all diversity. Be like me coming in here as a Saskatchewan Rough Rider fan and expecting nobody in here to talk about the
This
Edmonton
is going somewhere different. This is going to a different place.
Just be quiet. Let's all get together and say sorry.
This is a false. This is a.
We can all get together and have not praise.
Okay, hold on. Okay.
You see,
Luke,
because there is an equality issue here. And what is the same between Quebec and here, what is the same about rights across Canada, is they apply equally regardless of what the demographics of any given place are. So when it comes to freedom from religion and freedom of religion, freedom from religion should be applied equally in the
But there's no freedom from religion that's constitutionally applied anyway. You know that, Luke. That's a silly statement.
So for people to be equally able, let me give an example. So for someone that believes that religion is not only not true, but is, say, net negative or dangerous or damaging for mankind, be it on an individual or a macro basis, there's no way that someone with that position could open the council meeting.
No, they could come together and say whatever they like, express their sort of...
No, but you can't. You have to be able to do it without coercion, without stigmatization.
We've got to get one person talking at a time here, or else no one on the radio can hear your points, okay? So
Father?
Go ahead, Father.
Yeah, I think that one of the things is that you should have some space. I agree. There should be some place for people who have different kinds of perspectives. I don't know what an atheist kind of mind setting at the beginning of a council meeting would look like. My point is that diversity happens with an ability of all peoples to express the reality. And look at Mayor Mandel has gone to the religious communities to be an essential part of the caring for the street people and dealing with the issue of homelessness. So that would suggest to me that whether or not you begin a meeting with a prayer or invocation, religious people are going to continue to do what we have from the beginning of our time here in Edmonton, which has helped the community.
But hang on, this is, again, we're conflating two different issues. So suddenly now doing good is the exclusive realm of
that wasn't what I said at all. You know that.
This issue is simply about the equality of belief of everyone. And there's this false story that we've got diversity and we've got freedom. We don't. Satanists, if I was to use some extreme example, would not have the same freedom to stand up and to invocate, because permission to do so is not the same as social permission. Legal permission is not the same as social permission. And this is my point, that you can't stand up there and say certain things because you would be coerced or stigmatized to do otherwise. Freedom does not exist in reality.
Let me get in here in between you guys. What the Supreme Court is saying in that ruling is councils, governments must be neutral. Neutrality is the key point in that decision.
Correct.
Okay. So can you not achieve neutrality in balance by offering the opportunity as sort of, maybe Luke, you don't agree, but is there in Edmonton versus in Quebec? Is that a way to achieve some form of compromise for you?
Well, firstly, I'm a big fan of a moment of silence. I think 30 seconds of silence is the inclusive thing, because everybody gets to be
which has been suggested as a solution.
So that's the first thing. I'm all over that. And let's not throw out the baby with the bathwater. No one is saying that, hey, just because you can't be worshipping deities, or coercing a group to participate in the worship of deities, doesn't mean to say that we can't celebrate diversity of culture. The two are not absolutely tied. It is just that the state is supposed to be neutral on the matters of worshipping and believing in deities. And I frankly don't see what personal beliefs on individual or invisible deities has to do with running a city.
Father Penna, the issue of silence. Some councils are already doing it. What's your take on that?
Well, it depends upon what the silence means. Silence is never a neutral thing. In this case, a silence is a silencing of diversity. This is a practice that we've had, so you're making a statement about not saying something as being the way in which you achieve neutrality. It's a different thing from a moment of silence that we have, say, on November the 11th, when there's been a tradition of that. Now, if that's the way the culture wants to go, that the way that we're going to get along with each other is to completely silence all kinds of conversation and all kinds of bringing of different dimensions, whether it be non-belief or belief or First Nations or our immigrant communities who have no concept of this division between religion and culture. If that's the way that a vibrant culture is going to go, then, well, I think that we're in a bit of a pickle.
Nobody's saying that, right? Nobody is silencing anybody. Again, this is an absolutely ridiculous straw man.
I'm out of time.
And the Supreme Court disagreed absolutely with your point on silence.
So I'm out of time. I think people get the sense of where the debate is at for both
Born
of you.
to Run. That's my go-to karaoke song. I know you wanted me to say Amazing Grace, but it's Born to Run.
Born to Run. Luke, do you have a karaoke song?
It'll be
We'll end you guys harmoniously.
Can we do that with AC/DC? I can do Born to Run. I can do Born to Run.
All right.
All right.
AC/DC,
We agree on something. Hooray! All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Reverend Stefano Penna is Vice President of the College Development and Advancement at Newman Theological College. Luke Fevin is a Director with the Society of Edmonton Atheists.